Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. It's a topic that I touched upon yesterday and that I also touched upon last month, which is something that the Alter Rebbe talks about a lot. And being that it's his yahrzeit tomorrow, I'd like to expand upon it as much as possible today and tomorrow as well, because it's so crucial to understanding, first of all, Judaism, number two, who we are as Jews, what our purpose is, and also really what is the nature of Chabad today. Because it really explains a lot concerning what Chabad does and the average Chabad is involved in. But from a deeper Hasidic explanation. So, when you're a human being, so to say, like we all are, and we're on this earth, so we think in terms of physical and spiritual. And it's natural very often to think, well, listen, I'm physical, so I want to become more spiritual. So you leave behind the physical and become more spiritual. And there are all types of religions and all types of gurus and all types of fads and all types of advice and books that explain to you how to become more spiritual and, so to say, closer to God. But as I've explained before, we have a covenant with God. And God told us from his perspective how we get closer to God without having to do any guesswork. We don't have to, so to say, write the book or rewrite the book or try to figure something out and come up with all these different types of possible strategies for getting closer to God. God told us. He told us in Mount Sinai. And what he told us was very interesting. He told us, listen, you want to be spiritual, you're going to be spiritual. And the Alter Rebbe, of course, gave many, many very deep, beautiful explanations of how we can depthen our spiritual connection, how we can develop our soul connection, and so forth and so on. But the bottom line is, God said, I need you to do mitzvahs. I want you to do mitzvahs. And that's going to make you spiritual. That's going to really connect you to God. So what does that mean? Basically, it means the following, that in terms of connecting to God, we can think in terms of, well, I want the wattage to go up. I'm feeling 0 watts now. I want to feel 1 watt, 2 watts, 5 watts, 10 watts in order to feel that spirituality. But God says, listen, that 10 watts, even if you attain it, you spend your whole life trying to become a 10-watt Jew, what is going to be accomplished? There's billions of watts there. So your 10 watts is going to be minimal. Really, it's going to be somewhat of a spiritual ego trip because you're going to feel you're spiritual as compared to everybody else, but it's not really going to accomplish the goal, which is to connect to God. So God said, there's a different way to connect to me, not just through my revelation or my intensity or feeling my spirituality, God says, but through connecting to my will, my ratzon. And that will God put into the Torah. And God explained, these are the things that I want, these are the things that I don't want, these are the things that are important to me, and those are the things that are not important to me. And by connecting to my will, you're connecting on a level which is very, very essential, because my will is really much more part of me and who I am, God says, than just the fact that I am like a sun that just radiates energy and is able to give off this tremendous spiritual intensity. So as a result, when we look at the mitzvahs, though, are very physical. They're very physically grounded. They're all anchored in the physical world. So isn't that God just like throwing us a bone, or he's telling us, okay, you do this and don't do this, and I'm going to make you connected? No, it doesn't work that way either. So the Alter Rebbe goes into this to help us understand exactly how does this whole picture pan out. And there are 2 very interesting writings which the Alter Rebbe wrote at the end of his life, which I'm going to talk about more tomorrow. But I just wanted to get you started and whet your appetite a little bit. One is the 20th chapter of what we call now the 4th book of the Tanya, which is the Geras HaKodesh. And the other one is a letter called Hanefesh HaShefela, about a lowly soul. And in both of these, the Alter Rebbe talks at greater depth and length concerning how special it is to be in this physical world, to be involved in physical mitzvahs, to be dealing with the physical world, because this is where God's intent is, this is where God's will is, this is where God's real joy is, so to say, in terms of his creation. As we say every Friday night, that which was in thought first is in action last. Nilcha Dodi, that God first had in mind to create this world. All the spirituality that is, so to say, the bridge between the essence of God and this physical world is all only for the purpose of being able to be a human being in this physical world, doing physical things and accomplishing physical mitzvahs. So to be continued tomorrow, And I look forward to speaking to you then. Have a great day.